My son's wife mocked my dress at her wedding, so I smiled and canceled the catering I paid for. Before I share my full story, let me know where you're watching from and make sure to like the video to support me. My name is Mary Thompson. I am 68 years old. I was a schoolteacher before I retired. Teaching was my passion, but family has always been my priority. I have one son, Tom. Tom is a good man. I raised him to be kind and respectful. He met Emily a few years ago. They fell in love quickly. I was happy for them. Love is precious, and I wanted Tom to be happy. Emily and I have a complicated relationship. We get along, but there are tensions. She is confident and strong-willed. I admire that, but sometimes it creates friction between us. Like when we talk about the wedding. I offered to help financially. Weddings are expensive, and I wanted to contribute. I thought it would be a nice gesture. Emily accepted my offer but had many ideas. She wanted the wedding to be perfect. I am excited about the wedding. I love seeing families come together. It is a moment to celebrate love and commitment. But I also feel some worry. Emily has a strong vision for the wedding. Sometimes she dismisses my suggestions. She wants things done her way. I understand it is her day, but it hurts a little. I hope to be more involved. When Emily first showed me her ideas, I tried to add my thoughts. I suggested some traditional elements. I thought they would add warmth. Emily smiled and listened, but I could tell she was not interested. She said she wanted something more modern. I nodded and let it go. I told myself it was not a big deal. As the wedding approaches, I feel both happy and anxious. I want everything to go smoothly. I want Tom and Emily to have the day they dream of. But I can feel the tension. I try to ignore it. I focus on the positive. My son is getting married. That is what matters most. I think back to when Tom was a child. He was always so curious and full of life. I remember his first day of school. He was nervous, but I held his hand and walked him to his class. He looked up at me and smiled. I told him to be brave and kind. Those words stayed with him. I am proud of the man he has become. I remember meeting Emily for the first time. Tom brought her home for dinner. She was polite and charming. She talked about her job and her family. I could see why Tom liked her. She was smart and ambitious. Over time, we learned more about each other. We had some good times, but there were also misunderstandings. I tried to be patient and supportive. I wanted to be a good mother-in-law. I spent many hours helping with wedding plans. I went to dress fittings and cake tastings. I offered my opinions when asked. But often, my ideas did not match Emily's vision. I respected her choices. It is her wedding, after all. But sometimes, I wished she would consider my thoughts too. Tom is caught in the middle. He loves Emily, but he also cares about my feelings. He tries to keep the peace. He reassures me when I feel left out. He tells me everything will be fine. I believe him because I trust him. He has always been a good son. One day, Emily asked me to help with the guest list. I was glad to assist. We sat together, going through names. I suggested inviting some of our old family friends. Emily hesitated. She said the guest list was already long. I understood and did not push. But I felt a little disappointed. I wanted to share this special day with people who meant a lot to us. Despite these small setbacks, I tried to focus on the positive. I reminded myself that weddings are about love and union. My son is marrying the woman he loves. That is what truly matters. I assured myself that everything else would fall into place. As the days went by, I noticed more tension. Emily seemed stressed. Weddings are a big deal, and I know they can be overwhelming. I offered my help whenever I could. I wanted to make things easier for her. But sometimes, my offers were turned down. Emily wanted to handle things herself. I respected her wishes but felt a bit sidelined. I hoped the wedding day would bring us closer. I imagined us celebrating together, putting aside our differences. I looked forward to seeing Tom and Emily happy. I wanted to be part of that joy. I believed it would be a beautiful day, full of love and laughter. The morning of the wedding was bright and clear. I woke up early, feeling a mix of excitement and nerves. I chose my dress carefully. It was a soft blue, with delicate lace. It made me feel elegant and ready for the occasion. I put on my jewelry, a simple necklace that Tom gave me years ago. It felt right to wear it today. As I prepared, I thought about my role in the wedding. I wanted to be supportive and present. I wanted Tom and Emily to know I was there for them. I hoped my presence would bring comfort and warmth. With everything ready, I left for the venue. The car ride was quiet. I used the time to reflect. I thought about the journey that brought us here. I thought about Tom's childhood, his growth, and his love for Emily. I thought about the future they would build together. It filled me with hope. Arriving at the venue, I felt a mix of emotions. The place was beautiful, decorated with flowers and lights. Guests were arriving, dressed in their finest. There was a buzz of excitement in the air. I took a deep breath and smiled. This was a day to remember. As I entered, I saw Emily. She looked stunning in her dress. She was surrounded by friends, laughing and chatting. I approached her, wanting to share in her joy. But as I got closer, I overheard her conversation. She was talking about my dress. She said it was outdated, not suited for the wedding. Her words stung. I felt embarrassed and small. I managed a smile and greeted her. She acknowledged me briefly, then returned to her friends. I stood there for a moment, gathering my composure. I felt hurt, but I did not want to cause a scene. I reminded myself to be gracious. It was her day, after all. I found a quiet corner to sit and collect myself. I watched the guests mingle, the laughter and chatter filling the room. I tried to focus on the happiness around me, but Emily's words lingered in my mind. I felt out of place, like I did not belong. It was a lonely feeling. Despite the hurt, I reminded myself of the bigger picture. This was a day for Tom and Emily. I wanted to be there for them, to celebrate their love. I took a deep breath and steadied myself. I decided to push my feelings aside and focus on the joy of the occasion. As the ceremony approached, I prepared to take my seat. I hoped the day would improve. I wanted to be part of Tom and Emily's happiness. I wanted to see them start their life together with love and support from everyone around them. The day of the wedding was finally here. I arrived at the venue early. I wanted to make sure everything was set up properly. The sun was shining, and the air felt fresh. The venue was beautiful. Flowers lined the walkway, and soft music played in the background. Guests were starting to arrive, and there was a sense of excitement in the air. I wore my blue dress, the one I had carefully chosen for this special day. As I walked into the venue, I felt a mix of emotions. I was happy for Tom and Emily. This was their big day, a moment they would remember forever. But I also felt nervous. I hoped everything would go smoothly. I noticed Emily standing with her friends. She looked radiant in her wedding dress. Her friends surrounded her, chatting and laughing. I approached them, wanting to be part of the moment. I smiled and complimented Emily on how beautiful she looked. She thanked me quickly, then turned back to her friends. I felt a bit left out, but I tried not to let it bother me. As more guests arrived, I mingled and greeted them. I saw familiar faces, people I hadn't seen in years. It was nice to catch up and share in the excitement of the day. Everyone seemed happy and ready to celebrate. Then, something unexpected happened. During a pre-wedding gathering, Emily made a comment about my dress. She said it was old-fashioned, not suitable for the wedding. She said it in front of others, and I felt embarrassed. Her words caught me off guard. I felt a sting of humiliation. I didn't know what to say. I stood there, trying to keep my composure. My cheeks were warm, and I felt a lump in my throat. I wanted to disappear, to hide from the eyes watching me. I managed a small smile and excused myself. I needed a moment to collect myself. I found a quiet spot outside, away from the crowd. I took a deep breath, trying to calm down. I felt hurt and confused. I didn't understand why Emily would say something so unkind. It was just a dress, but her words felt like a personal attack. I thought about the effort I had put into the wedding. I had helped as much as I could. I had offered my support and contributed financially. I wanted this day to be perfect for Tom and Emily. But now, I felt small and insignificant. As I sat there, I thought about the past. I remembered other times when Emily had made similar comments. Little jabs, subtle but sharp. I had brushed them off, telling myself it wasn't a big deal. But now, they all came rushing back. I realized this wasn't an isolated incident. I tried to focus on the positive. Tom was getting married, and I wanted to be there for him. I wanted to celebrate his happiness. But it was hard to shake off the feeling of being undervalued. I felt like an outsider at my own son's wedding. I returned to the gathering, putting on a brave face. I mingled with guests, trying to enjoy the moment. I watched as Tom and Emily interacted with their friends and family. They looked happy and in love. That gave me some comfort. As the ceremony approached, I took my seat. I sat quietly, waiting for the event to start. I felt a mix of emotions, but I focused on the joy of the occasion. I reminded myself that this was a day to celebrate love and commitment. The ceremony was beautiful. Tom and Emily exchanged vows, promising to love and support each other. I watched with pride as Tom spoke his promises. He looked so grown up, so ready to start this new chapter of his life. I felt a swell of emotion, a mix of happiness and nostalgia. After the ceremony, guests gathered for the reception. I mingled, trying to put the earlier incident behind me. I wanted to focus on the positive. I wanted to be part of the celebration. Emily approached me during the reception. She thanked me for helping with the wedding. Her words were polite, but they felt hollow. I nodded and smiled, but inside, I felt a distance between us. It was like there was a wall I couldn't break through. I spent the rest of the reception trying to enjoy myself. I talked to guests, sharing stories and laughter. I watched as Tom and Emily danced, surrounded by friends and family. They looked happy, and that made me happy too. But the earlier incident lingered in my mind. I couldn't shake the feeling of being sidelined. I tried to push it aside, to focus on the joy of the day. But it was hard. The hurt was still there, just below the surface. As the reception came to an end, I felt a sense of relief. The day had been beautiful, but it had also been challenging. I was ready to go home, to find some peace and quiet. I wanted to reflect on the day, to process everything that had happened. I said my goodbyes, hugging Tom tightly. I wished him and Emily all the happiness in the world. I told them how proud I was of them. Tom smiled and thanked me for everything. I held on to that moment, cherishing the bond between us. Leaving the venue, I felt a mix of emotions. I was happy for Tom and Emily, but I also felt a sense of loss. The day hadn't gone as I had hoped. I had felt excluded, and that hurt. But I knew I needed to find a way to move forward. As I drove home, I reflected on the day's events. I thought about my relationship with Emily. I realized it was time to set some boundaries. I needed to stand up for myself, to assert my worth. I had been patient and supportive, but I couldn't keep ignoring my feelings. I knew it wouldn't be easy. Emily was now part of our family, and I wanted to make it work. But I also needed to respect myself. I needed to find a balance between supporting my family and caring for my own needs. The drive home was quiet and peaceful. I used the time to gather my thoughts, to plan my next steps. I knew I had to address the issues with Emily. I needed to have an honest conversation with her. It was time to clear the air, to find a way forward that respected us both. Arriving home, I felt a sense of calm. I knew what I needed to do. I was ready to have that conversation, to stand up for myself. I felt a sense of empowerment, a readiness to face the challenge ahead. I spent the evening reflecting, preparing for the conversation with Emily. I wanted to approach it with kindness and understanding. I wanted to find a resolution that worked for both of us. I knew it would take time, but I was committed to making it happen. As I settled into bed, I felt a sense of peace. I knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy, but I was ready to walk it. I was ready to stand up for myself, to find my voice. And that gave me hope for the future. After the wedding, I went home feeling drained. I sat in my living room, thinking about the day. The ceremony was beautiful, but the incident with Emily still bothered me. Her comment about my dress was hurtful. It wasn't just the words, it was the way she said it, in front of others, without a second thought. I realized I needed to reflect on my relationship with Emily. I thought about the past few years. There were many moments where she made me feel small. Her comments were subtle but sharp, like little cuts that added up over time. I had always brushed them off, telling myself to be patient and understanding. But now, I saw that this pattern had gone on too long. In that quiet moment, I made a decision. I needed to stand up for myself. I had supported Tom and Emily in many ways. I had given my time and money to help with the wedding. I had tried to be present and positive. But it was time to draw a line. I needed to assert my self-worth. I remembered the catering service I had paid for as a wedding gift. It was a significant contribution, one I was happy to make at the time. But now, I felt differently. Emily's behavior made me reconsider. I decided to cancel the catering. It was a way to reclaim some power, to show that I would not be disrespected. Making this decision was not easy. I knew it would have consequences. The catering was a big part of the reception, and canceling it would cause disruption. But I felt it was necessary. It was a way to set boundaries, to express that I deserved respect. I picked up the phone and called the catering company. The person on the other end was polite and understanding. They explained the cancellation process. I listened carefully, noting the details. I felt a mix of nerves and determination. This was a big step, but it was the right one for me. After the call, I sat back and took a deep breath. I felt a sense of relief, like a weight had been lifted. I knew I had done the right thing for myself. It was time to stop being a passive participant in my own life. I needed to take control and stand up for what I believed in. That night, I reflected on my decision. I knew it might cause tension with Tom and Emily. But I hoped it would also open the door for a conversation. I wanted to address the issues between us, to find a way forward that respected everyone involved. The next morning, I woke up with a sense of peace. I had made a difficult choice, but it felt empowering. I was ready to face whatever came next. I knew there would be fallout, but I was prepared to handle it. As I went about my day, I thought about how to approach the situation with Tom and Emily. I wanted to be calm and clear. I needed to express my feelings without anger or blame. It was important to stay focused on the goal, mutual respect and understanding. I decided to write down my thoughts. I wanted to be sure I communicated effectively. I made a list of the key points I wanted to discuss. I wrote about my feelings, the incidents that had hurt me, and my desire for change. Writing helped me organize my thoughts and prepare for the conversation. Later that day, I called Tom. I asked if we could meet to talk. He agreed, sensing the seriousness in my voice. We arranged to meet at a local cafe, a neutral place where we could speak openly. As I prepared for the meeting, I felt a mix of anticipation and anxiety. I knew this conversation was important. It was a chance to address the issues and find a way forward. I hoped Tom would understand my perspective and support my decision. At the cafe, I arrived early and found a quiet corner. I ordered a cup of tea and waited for Tom. I used the time to gather my thoughts and calm my nerves. This was a big step, but I was ready. When Tom arrived, he greeted me with a smile. We exchanged pleasantries, then got down to business. I began by expressing my love for him and my desire for harmony in the family. I explained my feelings about the wedding and the incidents leading up to it. I spoke about the hurt I had felt and my need to set boundaries. Tom listened carefully, his expression serious. I could see he was processing my words, trying to understand my perspective. I appreciated his willingness to listen. It gave me hope that we could find a resolution. I explained my decision to cancel the catering. I told him it was not out of spite, but a necessary step for my own well-being. I needed to assert my self-worth and show that I would not accept disrespect. Tom looked thoughtful, taking in everything I said. He asked a few questions, seeking clarification on certain points. I answered honestly, grateful for his engagement in the conversation. As we talked, I saw a shift in Tom's demeanor. He seemed to understand the depth of my feelings. He acknowledged the challenges and promised to speak with Emily. He wanted to find a way to mend the rift and move forward positively. Our conversation ended on a hopeful note. Tom expressed his commitment to improving the family dynamics. He thanked me for my honesty and promised to work towards a resolution. I felt a sense of relief, knowing we had taken the first step toward healing. Leaving the cafe, I felt lighter. The conversation with Tom had been productive. It was a step in the right direction. I knew there was more work to do, but I was optimistic about the future. As I walked home, I reflected on the day's events. I felt proud of myself for standing up and speaking my truth. It was a necessary step, one that I hoped would lead to positive change. That evening, I sat in my living room with a sense of peace. I had taken control of my narrative. I had expressed my feelings and set boundaries. I was ready to face whatever came next, confident in my ability to handle it. I knew there would be more conversations, more challenges to navigate. But I felt ready. I had found my voice, and I intended to use it. I was committed to creating a future where respect and understanding were at the forefront. And that gave me hope for the days to come. The morning after my conversation with Tom, I felt a mix of anticipation and anxiety. I knew that canceling the catering would have caused a stir at the wedding. But I had made my decision, and I stood by it. I hoped it would lead to a needed conversation about respect and boundaries. I went about my day, trying to keep busy. I cleaned the house, did some gardening, and ran errands. I tried to focus on the tasks at hand, but my mind kept drifting back to the wedding and its aftermath. I wondered how Emily had reacted to the missing catering. I knew she would be upset, and I braced myself for the fallout. In the afternoon, my phone rang. It was Tom. He sounded worried. He said Emily was very upset and wanted to talk to me. I agreed to meet them later that day. I knew it was important to address the issue directly. It was time to have an honest conversation and try to find a resolution. I spent the next few hours preparing for the meeting. I reviewed my notes, reminding myself of the key points I wanted to discuss. I practiced staying calm and focused, knowing the conversation could get emotional. I reminded myself of my goals, mutual respect and understanding. When I arrived at Tom and Emily's house, I felt a mix of nerves and determination. I took a deep breath and knocked on the door. Tom greeted me with a hug, then led me to the living room where Emily was waiting. She looked tense, her expression guarded. We sat down, and I started by thanking them for meeting with me. I expressed my desire to resolve the tension and work towards a better relationship. I explained my decision to cancel the catering, reiterating that it was not meant as an act of spite but as a step towards asserting my self-worth. Emily listened, her expression shifting from anger to confusion. She asked why I hadn't discussed my feelings with her sooner. I explained that I had tried to be supportive and patient, but the wedding incident was a tipping point. It made me realize I needed to set boundaries and address the underlying issues. Tom chimed in, expressing his understanding of my perspective. He acknowledged the challenges and reiterated his commitment to improving our family dynamics. He encouraged Emily to share her feelings, hoping to foster an open dialogue. Emily took a moment to gather her thoughts. She admitted that she felt overwhelmed by the wedding planning and may have been dismissive at times. She said she didn't mean to hurt me with her comments. I appreciated her honesty and acknowledged the stress she must have felt. I told Emily that I valued her as part of the family and wanted to find a way forward. I expressed my hope for a relationship built on mutual respect and understanding. I wanted us to be able to communicate openly and support each other. The conversation continued, with each of us sharing our perspectives and listening to one another. It wasn't always easy. There were moments of tension and disagreement, but we kept talking. We were committed to finding a resolution. As we talked, I felt a shift in the room. The atmosphere became less charged, more open. We were making progress, slowly but surely. I could see that Emily was trying to understand my perspective, and I was doing my best to see things from her point of view. Tom played a crucial role in the conversation. He mediated when things got tense, ensuring we stayed focused on the goal. He expressed his love for both of us and his desire for harmony in the family. His presence was reassuring, a reminder of the bond that connected us all. By the end of the meeting, we reached a tentative understanding. Emily apologized for her comments at the wedding and promised to be more mindful in the future. I apologized for not addressing my feelings sooner and promised to communicate more openly. We agreed to work on our relationship, to find ways to support and respect each other. It would take time and effort, but we were willing to try. The conversation ended with a sense of hope and a commitment to move forward positively. As I left Tom and Emily's house, I felt a mix of relief and optimism. The conversation had been challenging, but it was a step in the right direction. We had opened the lines of communication and set the foundation for a better relationship. Driving home, I reflected on the day's events. I felt proud of myself for standing up and speaking my truth. It wasn't easy, but it was necessary. I had taken control of my narrative and set boundaries. I was ready to continue this journey, confident in my ability to handle whatever came next. Back at home, I settled into my evening routine. I cooked dinner, reflecting on the progress we had made. I knew there would be more conversations and challenges ahead, but I was ready to face them. I felt a sense of empowerment, a readiness to embrace change and growth. As I sat down to eat, I thought about the future. I hoped for a stronger, more respectful relationship with Emily. I wanted to create a family dynamic where everyone felt valued and heard. I knew it would take time, but I was committed to making it happen. That night, I went to bed with a sense of peace. I had taken an important step towards asserting my self-worth and improving my family relationships. It was a journey, one that would require patience and effort. But I was ready to walk that path, confident in my ability to create a positive future. A few days after our conversation, I found myself reflecting on everything that had happened. The talk with Tom and Emily had been a turning point. It was the beginning of a new chapter for all of us. I felt hopeful but knew there was still work to be done. Tom called me one evening. He wanted to talk more about what had happened. We agreed to meet at a small cafe in town. It was a place we both liked, quiet and comfortable. I looked forward to the meeting. I wanted to understand his perspective and see how he was handling everything. At the cafe, Tom arrived looking a bit tired but relieved. We ordered our drinks and sat down. I could tell he had a lot on his mind. He started by thanking me for having the courage to speak up. He said it had opened his eyes to things he hadn't noticed before. Tom shared how he had felt caught in the middle between Emily and me. He loved us both and didn't want to take sides. But he also realized he needed to be more aware of the dynamics between us. He wanted to support both of us and help improve our relationship. I listened carefully, appreciating his honesty. I knew it was hard for him, trying to balance everything. I assured him that I understood his position and was grateful for his efforts. I wanted him to know that I valued his role in our family and his commitment to making things better. We talked about the future and how we could work together to build a stronger family bond. Tom suggested regular family dinners, a chance for all of us to connect and communicate. I thought it was a great idea. It would give us a chance to spend quality time together and strengthen our relationships. As we talked, I felt a sense of clarity. I realized that this was an opportunity for growth, not just for me, but for all of us. It was a chance to create a family dynamic based on respect, understanding, and communication. I was grateful for Tom's willingness to engage in this process. We also discussed Emily. Tom shared that she was still processing everything. She felt embarrassed by the incident at the wedding and was trying to understand her part in it. He said she was open to working on the relationship and wanted to move forward positively. I appreciated hearing this. It gave me hope that we could find common ground and build a better relationship. I wanted to support Emily in her journey, just as she was supporting mine. We were both learning and growing, and that was a positive step. As we wrapped up our conversation, I felt a renewed sense of purpose. I was ready to embrace this journey and create a positive future for our family. I was committed to being patient and understanding, to fostering an environment where everyone felt valued and heard. Back home, I reflected on the conversation with Tom. I felt proud of the progress we were making. It was a journey, but we were taking it together, one step at a time. I felt confident in our ability to navigate the challenges ahead. Over the next few weeks, I focused on taking care of myself. I spent time doing things I enjoyed, like reading, gardening, and meeting friends. I wanted to be in a good place, both mentally and emotionally. It was important for me to be strong and centered as we worked through the family dynamics. Tom kept me updated on how things were going with Emily. He said she was making an effort to be more mindful and respectful. He noticed positive changes in her behavior and communication. I was glad to hear this. It showed that she was committed to improving our relationship. We started having regular family dinners, just as Tom suggested. The first few were a bit awkward, but we stayed committed. Over time, things started to improve. We talked more openly, sharing stories and laughter. It felt good to be together, to enjoy each other's company. Emily and I had more opportunities to connect during these dinners. We found common ground in our interests and experiences. We talked about our favorite books, recipes, and travel destinations. We shared stories and listened to each other. It was a positive step, a sign that we were moving in the right direction. One evening, after dinner, Emily approached me. She wanted to talk, just the two of us. We sat down in the living room, and she began to speak. She apologized again for her comments at the wedding. She admitted that she had been stressed and hadn't realized how her words affected me. I appreciated her honesty and thanked her for being open. I told her that I valued her as part of the family and wanted to build a positive relationship. We talked about our hopes for the future and how we could support each other. The conversation was a turning point. It marked the beginning of a new chapter for us. We agreed to be more mindful and respectful, to communicate openly and honestly. It felt good to have reached this understanding, to know that we were both committed to moving forward positively. As I left their house that night, I felt a sense of peace. The journey wasn't over, but we were on the right path. We were learning and growing, creating a family dynamic based on respect and understanding. It was a process, but I was confident in our ability to succeed. Back at home, I reflected on the progress we had made. I felt proud of myself for standing up and speaking my truth. It had been a necessary step, one that had led to positive change. I was grateful for the support and understanding of Tom and Emily. Together, we were building a stronger, more connected family. As I sat in my living room, I thought about the future. I was excited about the possibilities, about the new opportunities for growth and connection. I felt hopeful and optimistic, ready to embrace whatever came next. That night, as I lay in bed, I felt a sense of satisfaction. I had taken control of my narrative and created a positive path forward. I was ready for the journey ahead, confident in my ability to navigate it with grace and strength. I was committed to building a future filled with love, respect, and understanding. In the days following our conversation, I focused on finding balance and peace in my life. I knew the journey with Tom and Emily was ongoing, but I wanted to make sure I was also taking care of myself. I began to explore new hobbies, things I had always been interested in but had never pursued. I signed up for a painting class at the local community center. It felt good to create something with my hands, to express myself through art. The class was small, and the instructor was encouraging. I found joy in mixing colors and watching a blank canvas transform into something beautiful. It was a welcome distraction and a source of personal growth. As I focused on my hobbies, Tom continued to reach out. He wanted to keep the lines of communication open and ensure we were on the right path. We talked often, sharing updates on family dinners and the progress we were making. I appreciated his support and commitment to improving our family dynamics. Emily was making an effort too. She reached out one evening, suggesting we go for a walk in the park. I agreed, happy for the opportunity to spend time together. We met on a sunny afternoon, the park bustling with people and life. We walked along the paths, talking about everything and nothing. As we walked, Emily shared more about her life. She talked about her work, her hobbies, and her dreams for the future. I listened, appreciating her openness. It was nice to see this side of her, to learn more about the person she was. I shared my own stories, talking about my teaching days and the things I loved. Emily asked about my painting class, curious about what I was creating. I told her about the landscapes I was working on, how I loved capturing nature's beauty on canvas. She seemed genuinely interested, asking to see my work someday. I promised to show her, glad for her interest and support. Our walk felt like a turning point. It was a moment of connection, a sign that we were moving forward. We were learning to understand each other, to appreciate the things that made us unique. I felt hopeful about our relationship, confident in our ability to grow closer. Meanwhile, Tom continued to play a vital role in bridging the gap between us. He encouraged more family activities, finding ways for us to spend time together. We went on picnics, visited museums, and even took a short trip to the countryside. These experiences helped us bond, creating memories and strengthening our connections. Through it all, I remained committed to my personal growth. I attended my painting classes regularly, enjoying the creative process and the sense of accomplishment it brought. I met new people, made friends, and expanded my social circle. It was fulfilling to explore new interests and embrace new opportunities. One evening, after a family dinner, Emily and I sat down for a cup of tea. We talked about the progress we were making and the positive changes in our relationship. Emily expressed her gratitude for my patience and understanding. She acknowledged that she still had work to do, but she was committed to doing better. I appreciated her honesty and assured her that I was committed to the same. We agreed to continue working on our communication and to support each other in our journeys. It was a moment of mutual respect and understanding, a sign that we were on the right path. As the weeks went by, I noticed positive changes in our interactions. There was more laughter, more joy. We were learning to enjoy each other's company, to celebrate our differences and find common ground. It wasn't always easy, but we were making progress, and that was what mattered. Tom was pleased with the changes too. He noticed the improved dynamics and expressed his happiness. He thanked Emily and me for our efforts, for being open to change and growth. His support meant a lot to me, a reminder of the strong bond we shared. As I reflected on the journey so far, I felt a deep sense of fulfillment. I had taken important steps to assert my worth and improve my family relationships. I was exploring new interests and embracing new opportunities. I was building a life that was meaningful and fulfilling. One weekend, Tom and Emily invited me to their home for a small gathering. They had invited some friends and family, a chance to relax and enjoy good company. I felt excited and a bit nervous, eager to see how things would unfold. The gathering was lively, filled with laughter and conversation. I mingled with guests, sharing stories and enjoying the atmosphere. Emily was a gracious host, making sure everyone felt welcome and comfortable. I appreciated her efforts, a sign of the progress we were making. As the evening went on, I found myself reflecting on the journey we had taken. There had been challenges and setbacks, but we had persevered. We had learned to communicate, to respect each other, and to build a stronger, more connected family. I felt grateful for the support and understanding of Tom and Emily. Together, we had created a positive path forward, one based on mutual respect and love. It was a journey we were taking together, one step at a time. As the evening came to a close, I felt a deep sense of contentment. I had found my voice and asserted my worth. I had embraced personal growth and created meaningful connections. I was ready to continue this journey, confident in my ability to navigate whatever came next. That night, as I drove home, I reflected on the journey so far. I felt proud of the progress we had made and hopeful for the future. I was ready to embrace new challenges and opportunities, knowing that I was capable of creating a positive and fulfilling life. Back at home, I settled into my evening routine, feeling content and at peace. I had taken control of my narrative and created a path forward filled with love, respect, and understanding. I was ready for whatever came next, confident in my ability to navigate it with grace and strength. The following months brought a sense of calm and stability. Our family dynamics had shifted, and I felt the change in every interaction. Tom, Emily, and I were more connected now. We had put in the work, and it was paying off. Our bonds were stronger, based on mutual respect and understanding. Emily and I continued to find common ground. We attended events together, shared meals, and supported each other. Our conversations were more open, filled with laughter and warmth. We were no longer just family by marriage, we were becoming friends. It felt good to know that our efforts were creating something lasting and meaningful. Tom was pleased with the progress we were making. He often expressed his happiness and gratitude. He thanked us for our commitment to improving our relationship. His support was a constant reminder of the love that held us all together. As time went on, I continued to focus on my personal growth. My painting classes became a cherished part of my routine. I found joy in creating art, in expressing myself through color and form. It was a source of fulfillment, a way to explore my creativity and connect with others. I also rekindled old friendships, reaching out to people I hadn't seen in years. We met for coffee, shared stories, and caught up on each other's lives. It was nice to reconnect, to remind myself of the importance of friendships and community. One afternoon, while I was painting at home, Emily called. She wanted to visit and see my artwork. I was excited to share this part of my life with her. We arranged for her to come over that weekend. When Emily arrived, I welcomed her with a cup of tea. We sat in my living room, the walls adorned with my paintings. I showed her my work, explaining the inspiration behind each piece. She listened intently, asking questions and offering kind words. Her interest and support meant a lot to me. As we talked, Emily shared some of her own interests and passions. She talked about her love for photography and how she wanted to pursue it further. I encouraged her, offering my support and enthusiasm. It was a moment of connection, a sign of how far we had come. The visit was a success, a testament to the progress we had made. We were learning to appreciate each other's strengths and support each other's dreams. It was a positive step, a sign that our relationship was continuing to grow. As the weeks went by, I felt a deep sense of contentment. I had found a balance between family and personal growth. I was creating a life that was meaningful and fulfilling. I was embracing new opportunities and nurturing important relationships. Tom and Emily invited me over for a family dinner one evening. It was a simple gathering, just the three of us. We shared a meal, talked about our days, and enjoyed each other's company. It felt comfortable and natural, a reflection of the new dynamics we had created. During dinner, Tom expressed his gratitude once more. He thanked Emily and me for our efforts and commitment. He said he felt lucky to have a family that cared so deeply for one another. His words touched me, a reminder of the love that bound us together. After dinner, we sat in the living room, sipping tea and talking about the future. We discussed plans and dreams, the things we hoped to achieve. It was a positive conversation, filled with hope and optimism. Emily shared her plans to take a photography course. She was excited to learn and grow, to pursue her passion. I offered my encouragement, promising to support her journey. It was a moment of connection, a sign of the trust and respect we had built. As the evening came to an end, I felt a sense of peace. We had come a long way, and our efforts were paying off. We were creating a family dynamic based on love, respect, and understanding. It was a journey, but we were doing it together. Driving home, I reflected on everything we had achieved. There had been challenges, but we had faced them head-on. We had learned to communicate, to support each other, and to build a stronger family. It was a journey of growth and transformation, and I was grateful for every step. Back at home, I settled into my evening routine. I felt content and fulfilled, ready to embrace whatever came next. I had taken control of my narrative and created a positive path forward. I was ready for the future, confident in my ability to navigate it with grace and strength. As I lay in bed that night, I thought about the journey we had taken. It had been a process of learning and growth, one that had brought us closer together. We had created a family dynamic based on love and understanding. It was a journey I was proud to be part of, and I looked forward to continuing it. I closed my eyes, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. I was grateful for the support and love of Tom and Emily. I was grateful for the opportunity to grow and learn. I was grateful for the chance to create a life that was meaningful and fulfilling. As I drifted off to sleep, I felt a sense of peace and contentment. I had found my voice and created a positive path forward. I was ready for the journey ahead, confident in my ability to navigate it with grace and strength. I was ready to embrace the future, knowing that I was capable of creating a life filled with love, respect, and understanding.